Hi guys, I'm on the road this week in Fredericksburg, where we're directing A Christmas Carol with CYT Fredericksburg. And so I'm sitting in a motel room here doing our lecture for week 11, which focuses on my theatrical hero, Bertolt Brecht. Brecht is, of course, a German playwright and got his start during the German Expressionist movement that we talked about a couple of weeks. Brecht got his start as a dramaturg under the great German director Max Reinhardt. His early plays included plays like Baal, Drums in the Night. But in the 1920s, Brecht began to develop his signature playwriting style, which was dubbed epic theater. He was trying to create a theater for the working man, for the working class. He wanted to escape the escapist theater that he felt like artists like theater for the working created, class. And create a. Brecht's desire was to do away with the theater where you were immersed in the experience, where you were lulled into believing that what you were seeing was reality, and he instead wanted to create a theater that was governed by thought, by rationality. Brecht was seeking to create a theater in which everything was questioned, everything was considered rationally and logically. Brecht did this by turning to the meta-theatricality that we have seen over and over again in the avant-garde theater, a theater that was conscious of its own theatricality. He would do things like leave the lights in full view, have the actors change the sets in view of the audience, so that you never lost sight that what you were watching was spectacle. What you were watching was artifice. It was something created by artists. You were never to believe in the emotional experience itself. Brecht used a technique for this strangeness that he was trying to create on stage. It's one of those big German words that are made from putting multiple words together. The word is Verfremdungseffekt. Verfremdungseffekt has been incorrectly translated as the alienation technique or the alienating effect. A more accurate translation would be the making strange effect or the strange effect. And what Brecht is doing with this Verfremdungseffekt is that he is making us, as the audience, step back and say, wait, what are these guys doing? What are they trying to accomplish? And there were multiple techniques they used to do this. There were meta-theatrical techniques like leaving the lighting clearly visible during the course of the play, having the actors move the scenery, as we've already talked about, or using very harsh light. But there were other techniques he used, including incorporating of songs into the play. Using titles and placards and announcements in the play, inclusion of video, inclusion of poems to comment on the action. It is the making strange. It's making us step back and say, I don't understand. Let me think about this for a minute. Additionally, Brecht sought to create almost a montage effect on stage with his plays. He was heavily influenced by Vsevolod Meyerhold that we looked at a couple of weeks ago when we were discussing the revolution in Russia. He was affected by Sergei Eisenstein, the great Russian filmmaker, and the techniques of constructivism and biomechanics shaped this montage sense that Brecht was trying to create. But he was looking for fragmentation, contrast, a contradiction, and so that you were seeing multiple scenes, multiple vignettes, songs that intercut it with video, so that you were seeing many different pictures. Just like when we see a montage or a collage, we're using multiple images to create a single effect. Brecht was using these different theatrical techniques, these different theatrical elements to create a sense of theatrical montage, a sense of layering and fragmentation that commented on the whole. Acting in Brecht's plays was to be made strange as well. where Stanislavski was trying to create the complete illusion of character, Brecht's actors were trying to step back and show you the character without emotionally becoming the character. This would allow them to have a certain amount of objectivity. It would allow them to make comment on the action even as they were doing it. His acting, again, as I said before, was affected by Meyerhold. It was also influenced by the Peking opera of the Chinese theater, and by the fairground entertainments that we've seen over and over again in this avant-garde movement, starting way back with Uberoi, but this carnivalesque that we see in the writings of Michael Bach, and again showing up in the works of Bertolt Brecht. The reason that Brecht employed this strange making, this Verfremdungseffekt, was the didactic nature of what he thought theater should be. As a Marxist, as a believer of the proletariat, he saw theater as a way to train and educate the masses. And so all of his ideas were circled around this notion of the theater should teach, the theater should be an institution that can educate the masses. And his thought was that he didn't want these masses to become lulled by the emotional escapist entertainment on stage, but instead they were made to think over and over and over again by these different making strange techniques that Brecht would use. I think that's one of the things that drew me to Brecht when I first came to theater, was this notion that theater could be used as a vehicle to teach and to make people think. When Rebecca and I went into ministry, we incorporated many of the Brechtian ideas into Christian drama to try to kind of use Verfremdungseffekt with Christian theater. To mixed success. I think we were able to do something different than many drama ministries were doing during the 1990s and early 2000s. It never got the popularity that some ministries had, but it was our own style, and it was created in large part by this Brechtian approach to making the audience step back and look and question and wonder. So that's a quick intro to Brecht. This week we're going to be reading several articles. I've got 2 plays that I want you to read or to choose from. Those will be posted on the Blackboard page. One of them, my favorite, is The Resistible Rise of Arturo Ui, which was a play written about the rise of Nazism in Germany, but told through the story of a mafia gang rising to power in Chicago in the 1920s. And so I think it's a very fun play, but it also is a clear example of this Verfremdungseffekt, this making strange that we've been talking about throughout this short video, of different techniques used to make the audience step back and consider and intellectually evaluate what they're seeing. So I look forward to reading your posts. I look forward to reading your papers, and hope you guys have a great week. Thanks. Bye.